Welcome to the Tech Talk Forum on this great city with our host, Ivan Sutton.
Chomping at it too. She's ready to go.
She's ready to go. She has an appointment coming in, so it's awesome. So thank you everybody for joining Tech Talk with me, Ivan Sutton. Today we're chatting about my favorite topic, as Michael likes to rib me constantly that I don't have an electric car. No, Michael, I don't. Okay. Anyway, but we are going to talk about Chinese EVs because you know that's a big topic, and some people are hoping that we get the best of this deal, and not the potential negative outcomes. Anyway, so that's what we're chatting about. So thank you for that. Right afterwards, of course, I'm doing the training from 11 o'clock until noon. So for those last few, this is the last training that we're doing, and then we're doing it once per month, right? So if you want to come on to the live training, the link is in the Go Zone. Jump on the call, and we'll go through it. All right. Next week, of course, we have a number of events coming up. Please do check the calendar. I want to make sure that they're all in there. Teresa promised me last night that they are all there, and I'll be verifying it. The other thing is I have 3 spots left for an interview. So I do the first 1,000 days podcast. I don't know if you've seen the podcast. If you're not following our YouTube channel, definitely go and check out This Great City's YouTube channel. And when these podcasts drop, you'll get the notification and be able to watch them. But I've done 3 so far. I have 3 more that I'm doing in the first set. So if you'd like to be interviewed for that, please let me know. It's only a 20-minute interview. And really it's only a 15-minute interview, and then we do a rapid fire 10 questions at the end, and it's a lot of fun. So let me know. It's a good way to promote your business, and this podcast is getting a lot of views. So just send me a text at the end of this or anytime. I do the interviews on Tuesdays, right? There you go. All right. So today, our topic is on electric vehicles coming into Canada. And as you know, recently, Prime Minister Carney, I know you're just itching right now, Michael. Carney went to China and really got a good deal, I think, to allow Chinese electric vehicles into Canada at a lower tariff rate. Before 2 years ago, they'd set the tariff rate at 100%, basically killing imports of Chinese vehicles coming into Canada. They'd be just too uncompetitive. But now that's been lifted. The tariffs are still going to be in place, but it's not going to be 100%. I think it's going to be 6% or something, and so that's what it's going to be. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see the very first BYD sign on the side of the one where a plant that used to be a Ford plant. I'd like to see that converted to a BYD plant so we can produce our stuff here. It's in late 2024, Canada followed the US. So people don't remember that prior to that, we did not have 100% tariffs on Chinese vehicles. So right now we're kind of going back to what we had before. And as Prime Minister Carney says, we've gone back to that, but we are putting some guardrails, as he calls it, in place so that the vehicles must be affordable under $30,000 Canadian as the purchase price. And I think that's a pretty smart thing, driving demand for those vehicles and also forcing the big automakers to be competitive, right? So, if everyone's buying these Chinese cars, then Ford, GM, they're going to have to compete.
So I have a question here.
Yep.
And I know it was either a $30,000 or $35,000 target on these, but this is where it gets interesting because I know there's a limit of 49,000 coming in, but what is it actually costing them right now to build that in China? Because one of the things that they can get into trouble with is if they bring in these vehicles at the $30,000, but it actually costs them more because that's actually called dumping, right? And
right.
Dumping would be obviously not allowed. Like, is it even possible to build profitably and sell profitably a $30,000 EV in Canada? Like, is it even possible by the time you build it, pay the workers, ship the vehicle. Obviously, they're going to need a dealer network here too if they're going to sell them here. I'm just wondering what's the break-even point actually of that, because at a certain point, if the vehicle costs are more than that $30,000, then you actually won't be able to import any vehicles because the price will be so low that there's nothing you can really, like, you probably won't be able to import their high end, maybe just their low end models, like stripped down models, right?
Yeah, so I don't know, because that's a complaint that everybody has. They're saying that China is dumping their vehicles here, and so it's unfair competition. It would be more in line with what Ford might have for their lower end vehicles if they were charging a regular price based on what it actually costs to produce. China denies that. There has to be some value to it. I mean, I know it's government kind of controlled over there, but at some point, you want to get a return on that investment, right? So you're cranking out these cars. I mean, they're not just selling here, but Chinese vehicles are being sold around the world. Europe is buying up a lot of Chinese cars. Australia is buying, Africa, like all these places are buying Chinese cars. At what point do you say, okay, all right, we understand that this is a viable product. Let's start trying to get some return on that investment. So I don't know, but it's a good question. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see because obviously that price point is just so low that, even you have said in the past, we're going to be able, if we get Chinese EVs, they're going to be $40,000 as opposed to 70.
Right.
Well, at $40,000, they're already 10,000 over the 30, or is it 30 or $35,000?
I think you know what, I keep hearing 30,000, so I'll have to verify that. I'm pretty sure it's like $30,000 mark.
But even if it was 35, and the target before was 40, how like you already had a $5,000 loss, right?
Yeah.
So it's I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, because I mean, everybody has certain raw material costs, right? Like that's probably the
Well, what do you think is a reasonable, like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is able to speak, but what do you think is a reasonable price to charge for a new vehicle? So Canada is part of the global climate agreement, and I just wanted to look at whether or not, like, should we do like Trump did and pull out of the climate agreement and just not go that way? Just put a 10-year hold on that, just until the economy stabilizes, right? But here's the argument. If Canada backs out, it weakens our negotiating power on trade with those countries that are signed onto the same deal on defense, diplomacy, environmental policy, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Ask Mimi.
Mimi, are you there?
Or Sarah.
Yeah, I am. I'm just not on camera.
Okay.
So I definitely do not think we should be pull out because it's about the environment. It's not about the money.
Absolutely.
That's just my thing. So I don't think we should pull out of anything that will have the environment be better for future generations.
That's right. The environment doesn't fluctuate like the economy does, right? So, I mean, the idea is that progressively it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right? And that's you want to avoid that, right? That's technology.
I'll compliment you on this picture, because the only other picture I've shown, and I keep seeing it on one of the TV station here, is they're doing the handshake thing, and Carney's smiling, but Xi looks like he's looking away, and he's kind of bored, and he's like, "Is this over yet?"
That's right. That's right.
So he actually got him smiling. So I'll compliment you on getting a picture where they're both actually smiling.
That's prompting. You got to be prompting, right? So there you go. So anyway, so EVs for canola swap. Yeah, you know what? What was funny was the premier of Saskatchewan was there on that trip. And you can imagine that there's a little bit of sway there that he's going to exert on the prime minister when he goes in to meet with Xi. And of course, I'm sure the Chinese, they just stuck it onto Canada because Canada stuck that 100% tariff on them, right? It's tit for tat. So we're negotiating downward to get back to where we were before.
I wouldn't want to be a lobster in the Atlantic Ocean, though.
What is that?
Well, the tariff came off lobsters too.
That's true.
Now they're going to be shipping more lobsters again.
That's right. That's right. So we have to now encourage those lobsters to procreate. So the managed quota, Canada has capped imports at 49,000, as you know. That's annually. That's a lot of vehicles. I think that's a lot of vehicles. But anyway, 49,000. It is a calibrated opening. So it's not going to be like next year we're going to get 49,000. So, but it only represents 3% of the total Canadian auto market, designed to inject competition without drowning local manufacturers. The tariff plummets from 100% to 6.1%, the standard most favored nation rate. It's a win. Does anybody think that we should have kept the tariffs on Chinese vehicles?
I think that the 6.1%, I don't know if that's going to be a bargaining chip or it's going to be a problem when we do CUSMA, because right now we have on all vehicles, and they've lowered the quota on how many vehicles the Americans now can bring into Canada. I don't know what the numbers are for each manufacturer. Each manufacturer has a number, but that tariff is actually 25%. So I'm
Yes,
kind of wondering
at the
how
6%.
this is going to work when we get to coming to CUSMA negotiations. Is this going to be a positive for us, or is it going to be? And when I say a positive, where Canada says, well, listen, if you want a 0%, you just have to manufacture cars in Canada again, and then you'll have a 0% rate. Or is our American friends, are they going to say, well, why are you charging us 25% when you're only charging China 6.1%? So it's going to be interesting how that works out for Canada when and if those CUSMA negotiations ever happen,
Yeah,
because all
that
these parts of the economy are intertwined, right?
yeah, that CUSMA deal. I don't know what's going to happen with that, because you're right. There are so many challenges right now, and of course, this China thing is tough. And I've been reading a lot about what's happening, globally, as a response to some of the things that Trump's been trying to do, where some countries are starting to sell off their treasuries, their U.S. treasuries, and trying to sell their bonds, right? Which is going to put some economic pressure on the United States. So if the United States, even though they're posturing and they're seeing Canada now strategically moving away, and going to a place that can supply Canada with whatever we need, pretty much. I mean, there's some logistical challenges of getting the stuff here, but China is a huge market. If you think about the United States, whatever, 380 million people, and I think they just deported 1 million, so 382 million. and and then you think about China, right? 2 billion people and growing, with most of their population coming out of the lower class into the middle class. And this is the presentation that the representative from China made at the World Economic Forum the other day, right? And he was just saying, we want to do business with every nation. So right now, China is doing business with African countries. They're doing business with Australia, with Europe, with South America. And there's an antagonism coming from North America that they're trying to solve. But if Canada deals with China, especially on things like oil, as we've been reading about in the news lately, right?
Yes.
Then wow, that's a massive market for
And
us.
it's funny because our American friend to the south doesn't want us to deal with China, yet it was announced yesterday that he's going to China in
Of course
April.
he is. Yeah, he has to go
So
to China.
everybody's going to go to China. Everybody wants to cut a deal with China. They're not running the United States to cut a deal. They're running to China to cut a deal. It's kind of
Listen,
funny.
if you were an alien, Mimi, you're an alien, you just land on Earth and you want to sell your whatsits from Tralfamadore, right? And all of a sudden, you look at the global populations, you're going to go to China and you're going to go to India, right? Because that's where the major markets are right now. The largest group of people that are consumers. And then you'll go to, America, obviously, because they seem to be the powerful one. You probably go to the Vatican, for religious reasons, but you're definitely going to go to China and India. And I think that Canada is kind of making the right steps right now, going to China and India making deals
And I'm
for our
waiting to
40
see
million
till
people.
we get more Indian vehicles here also, because India has become a big producer of motor vehicles, electric
Yeah.
and combustion.
There are 2 electric vehicle companies out of Africa that they're on the roads right now. People are buying them, and it would be amazing to say, hey, you know what? I mean, if it's a smaller brand, would you like to have access to a market? If you're meeting the requirements of being able to put your vehicles on Canadian roads, why not? Why not have? Because Africa also needs products. If we can export to Africa, that would be amazing. Affordability mandate, price ceiling. So a
Well,
unique,
it's 35.
yeah, it is 35. Yeah, sorry, yeah. So a unique clause in the New Deal requires that by 2030, 50% of the quota must be reserved for vehicles with an import price of $35,000 or less. So that's a landed price, right? Because you hear about these prices of what they cost in China, and they'll even hear about prices of what they cost in China converted to Canadian, but you're not taking into account, transportation costs, et cetera, right? All the logistics costs. So the strategic intent, as I mentioned before, essentially buying these essentially forces Chinese brands to bring their entry-level disruptors like BYD, Dolphin, and Seagull rather than the luxury models, and challenging the big 3 to produce affordable North American alternatives.
So that answers all my questions from earlier. They're bringing their cheapy stripped down models in
yeah,
because
we're going to look at them.
their other ones are already too expensive to bring in under this.
Okay, so I want to get into the vehicles themselves. So this is the 20,000 to 25,000 Canadian BYD Seagull. It's not a big car. I mean, we've seen a bunch of these types of cars on the road here. Not these ones, not Chinese EVs, and not even EVs, but you've seen a lot of gas-powered ICE vehicles that are on the road that are small and they're affordable and people can get in them. It'd be nice to see, and some of them are not that much more than this, by the way. You can buy a vehicle for, $30,000. That's a small vehicle, and it'll work for you, and it's a gas.
Oh, it reminds me of the size wise. It reminds me of the little smart car that Mercedes made some years back.
That's right. Yeah, the
Just
smart car.
it's maybe just a little bit bigger than that.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Right. And you know what? There are a lot of those smart cars around, right? A lot of people had those cars. So not sure how smart they were, but yeah. And then here's another one. This is the Wuling Bingo S. I love the names, right? Attractive little car, right? It's kind of a zippy little thing, you know. Kind of I love it. I think it's a beautiful car, right? A little small for me. I get a little claustrophobia in there, but I do think it's nice.
I think it's cute.
Don't you think it's
Look,
cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if you get a car like this for $20,000 to $30,000, I mean, that's good.
it looks very utilitarian inside.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like the only thing that looks anywhere near glitzy and new is that probably Samsung tablet that's mounted on the dash.
Yeah. But okay, so I bought the Escape SUV we bought, right? That's very utilitarian. And it's after we test drove it, we thought, no, we'll get used to it. This is fine, right? Because price was an object, so we wanted to make sure we kept it under a certain price. And but now that I drive that thing, I mean, I feel it's not like driving the Volvo where it's smooth, it's beautiful, right? Driving that thing is like bang, bang, like everything you feel is like, oh, anyway, but it works, right? It's very utilitarian and Spartan, right? This one is kind of the same. And if Teresa sees this, I'm not knocking your car. Okay, sleek tech forward. Okay, so check out this one here. This is the Xpeng Mono M3. A very attractive vehicle. I mean, if you were to compare this to, like, let's say the Tesla, right?
It says it right in there, Tesla Model 3.
Does it? Where? Oh yeah,
Second
okay,
line.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
similar.
right, similar, right, yeah. There you go. So if you were to have you want to go to the Model 3, or you can get this. This is going to save you 10 grand, right? Which is pretty amazing. 10 to $20,000. Now, before I go to the next slide, I'll finish this one off. So here's an SUV. All right. Now, there are a lot of SUVs that you'll see on the road that are kind of like this, right? But this SUV is between $14,000 and $23,000 Canadian, depending on what you have put in it. Like, think about that. That is insane, unheard of, and it doesn't look as cheap and chintzy as my imagination tells me a $14,000 to $23,000 vehicle would have.
They all look almost identical inside. Like the interior looks almost the same on every one of them.
Yeah. It's the class, right? It's a classic vehicle. This is the entry level vehicle. So it's going to not have a lot of the bells and whistles and sexiness. But okay, so with that said, let me get out of here. I don't think there's another one. Is there? Oh yeah, and then there's this one. This one is a little bit sexier, and you have to. This is kind of cute, right? This is the Xiaomi SU7. Great vehicle. I think I have a video of this one too. So sexy cars, right? A lot of the bells and whistles. Okay, so let me get out of this. And I'm going to, let me see here now, go to, all right. So first I want to show a few videos, and then we'll chat about it.
I regret buying the Cherry Tiggo 4 Pro. These start at just $23,990 drive away, but you still get 108 kilowatt of power, 210 newton meters of torque. For this price, you will not find a better interior. You get no less than 3 displays with wireless Apple CarPlay. And yeah, I got a good deal through CarSource Buy. It means I paid $500 less, and I got to pick it up in 2 days. I regret buying.
Okay, so here it is. This is obviously in Europe or Australia or wherever. $23,000 vehicle. I don't know of anywhere that I would be able to pick up a vehicle like this landed for $23,000. What are your thoughts?
I don't know what 110 kilowatts of power is like. How does that relate to? Is that
So it's probably 350, 400 kilometers.
No. How does that relate to a gasoline engine and power? Is that like a 1.4 liter display, or is it a 4 liter?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know.
Right. I don't know how is that a dog, or is that like something really powerful?
So I haven't seen too many electric vehicles that are slower than gas vehicles. Like they're all pretty fast, right? Even slow ones that get you there in 5 seconds, that's faster than my Volvo, right? Which I think is pretty fast. So, yeah, I don't know, but you know what? I mean, soon they're going to be here, Michael, and then you and I will have to take the camera out and do a test to see how they go. Okay, this is the next one. This is the Xpeng Mona 3.
Are you intrigued by the idea of an EV but are still waiting for that super affordable one? Well, look no further. This is the Xpeng Mona 03, a lot of car for a little money. So how much exactly is a little money? Well, this Mona right here is currently one of the cheapest EVs you can buy. In the China market, it sells for the equivalent of around $16,000. That's for a proper car. But is it good? Well, maybe that's not for me to judge, but here in the...
Okay, so we get the general idea. So he goes through the whole thing, and at the end of it, he goes, it's an amazing car. So $16,000 there. Let's say it costs $16,000 to bring it here. That's an amazing car for that price. I mean, what do you think? Mimi, did you see that?
I did.
What do you think?
For me, when it comes to buying a car, I'm not really going to look at a car until I need one. I just bought one a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So, I'm going to be waiting another 5 or 10 years before I look at what's out there. Does this car look nice? Yeah, it looks nice. but the prices are going to change by the time I need to buy a car. The things that are available inside the car are going to change. A whole variety of things are going to change. So is it nice? Yeah. As long as they don't charge, they don't take away the climate control, I'm happy.
Mimi, you're
I
like
hear
me. You like
Yeah.
knobs and dials, not having to go through screens.
Right.
Yes.
So the flashy YouTube videos, they don't turn me on, but I'll look at them and when I'm ready to buy the next car.
Oh, Mimi, we are so different because when I walk into a store and things are flashing around in the back, I'll walk over there, and I'll probably buy it. So yeah, these kind of things are important. But this is where I think cars like this fail because I like a dash with lights. I don't like a screen. I like to see, a stereo with lighting and just, I like that. But what they've done is they've given you the screen, and then to compensate, they then give you that mood lighting around the cabin. No, just give me my lights on the dash. Turn off the lights in the car when I'm driving. That's for me. All right. Tough
And when
crowd.
it comes to any car, electric, gas, I wouldn't buy it just because I have problems getting into these vehicles with these, what I call low slung roofs.
Mm,
Like I can barely make it in my truck, which has a nice big opening. I don't bend well. And when I got, like, my wife has a cruise, and when I get in her car and we're going somewhere, I gotta sort of squat and go in backwards and then try reach because those openings are so small. Like you have to almost go into the fetal position to get in any car today. I don't care what kind of car it is and who's making it, right? It's
fetal
not,
position.
they're not like the old, sort of square openings that we used to have on the older cars where it was easy to get in and out, even in the back. Try get in the back of one of those things. You're going to whack your head because I've done it before, just trying to get into the car.
Michael, you're killing me.
It's true.
Michael, I think it's called age.
I'll tell you, I've been like this for about 15 years.
I'm kidding.
No, I've been like this for about 15 years. I was at a conference and somebody had a car and I ended up in the back seat and I'm trying to get in the back of the car. They go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to get in your car, man. Like, this is not easy to get into."
My mom is an example. She, with my Bronco, I had to switch cars with my husband and get his Explorer to go pick up my mom because she could not. Like I would have had to push her in the car with the Bronco. And now that I have a Mini Cooper, it's the same thing. Like I have to go get my husband's car because there's no way my mom will get into my car.
Mini Cooper. No.
Yeah. Some of us are just that stiff and we don't get in those little openings really easy.
Funny.
All right, so this is the BYD. This is another. I just wanted to show you like the interior fit and finish of the car. Pretty neat. I thought that was totally tight. Okay, let's see what the next one is up. Oh, okay, this is the that SUV, $15,000 electric vehicle in China, right? 15,000 in China. So
The one up, eh?
yeah. All right, let's see. There we go.
This is the moment the EV market gets exposed. The 2026 BYD Yuan Up arrives as a $15,000 electric SUV with real range, real technology, and real everyday usability. And it instantly makes today's so-called affordable EVs look wildly overpriced. Hello, and welcome to
So based on what you're seeing here, I mean, can you imagine a vehicle? Let's say that this is a $30,000 vehicle. I can't imagine even looking at the tires, looking at the just the stance of the vehicle, this seems to stand out. If I saw this and I was a young person, I would be definitely attracted to this vehicle, right?
Maybe as a young person, but to be honest with you, the front windshield, the way the two bars come from the roof down to the front of the car, yeah, right there. To me,
Okay.
that's blocking vision. I would definitely not buy that car, and I wouldn't
Okay.
wouldn't recommend it to anybody else. And also, like you, Ivan, I prefer
Knobs.
knobs and dials versus a screen, because a screen you have to look away and you have to look at, whereas a knob, if you know where it is, you could just stick your arm out and you keep your eyes on the road.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I'm at the age now, and I hate to confess this, but it's true. I'm at the age now where if something is too complicated, like for me, I'm driving along and I need to adjust my seat, and I've noticed that some cars, like even the Teslas, you have to adjust your seat from the screen. I would not ever adjust my seat. Like, it's just too complicated for me to reach over, find the screen for the seat adjustment, and then like forget it. I'll just sit, whatever. I'm just not going to do it, right?
A lot
So,
of vehicles, those features like adjusting pedals, seats, they don't function when the car's in drive and moving. They've done that for safety.
really?
You can't, no,
You're
you
right.
can't,
You're right.
because it's a safety issue. If you're driving along at 120K and all of a sudden you move your seat maybe too far forward in, and now your foot gets stuck on the gas pedal, I mean, it sounds stupid, but this stuff unfortunately happens, right? And so, yeah, those features don't work. But to Mimi's point, that black part that comes down, Mimi,
Yeah.
on a lot of the newer vehicles, my vehicle that I bought last year is a 2020. This is where all those sensors are for the cameras and stuff. And I don't know what vehicle you bought there, but a lot of new vehicles have that. I have that big thing on my windshield also. And as
Oh,
I
you're talking about the thing in the middle. I thought she was talking about the A-pillar.
Or are you talking about the pillars on the left or on the right, or were you talking about the thing that came down in the middle by the mirror, Mimi?
No, not the middle thing. The two
Yeah.
bars coming from the roof to the side of the car.
Yeah, the A-pillars. That's what she's talking about.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
those can be perpendicular, kind of thing.
yeah.
Just like
I see what you're saying. I don't know if that's the way the picture's taken it, because it almost looks like when you look at the picture, it's like the doors come out as wings and the
Yeah.
front is narrower, and I think
Right.
that might be an optical illusion.
Yeah, I don't think
Right.
it's like
I
that.
don't
But
think so, because a lot of cars these days are like that. It's
Do they?
very hard to find a car that's not, because it goes towards the aerodynamic look of things.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Mm.
That bubbled shape, yeah.
Yeah.
most cars now,
All
most
right.
cars
So
nowadays
this one
have
here. So go ahead, Sarah.
I said most cars nowadays do have no knobs, I noticed. They're
Yeah.
all like computerized, right?
Yeah.
Like all with technology like on the screen nowadays.
More stuff to break. I have knobs. I'm very happy I have knobs still. And
Yeah.
if my vehicle was 1 year newer, I wouldn't have knobs. So I'm very happy I bought the year I did.
Sure.
I purposely went older for a couple reasons, and a lot of them were technology reasons, actually.
Yeah, I think the knobs are going to come back. Actually, I think we talked about this before, where it's causing actually more accidents because there's much more distraction in the
Absolutely.
vehicle. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just speaking of knobs, have you ever driven a vehicle with the gear shift that is a circle, and then you change gears by just turning it?
Oh, yes, I've seen those. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
What kind of
my
a
husband
vehicle are
has
those
that.
on? What are
Well,
those on?
the one that I was using was the Ford Escape, actually.
Yes, my husband has
And
that.
When you turn the knob, okay.
it was very, oh my goodness. Like I could drive, you know. So like for me, it was really annoying because you keep forgetting which direction to turn and like turn the knob, right? And then also like where you could just go into a plaza. and go straight into a parking space, even reverse into a parking space easy, right? With this knob thingy, it's like it takes you, what would take you like 5 seconds is like taking you like a minute, right?
Wow.
So I find it to be very distracting. And then even with all the other stuff that you guys were talking about with the screens and everything like that, I'm obviously used to like the older type vehicles, right? And so all the screens and also like now some people see it as beneficial, right? Like even like the side mirrors where it notifies you that there's a car coming
Yeah.
in your blind spot or whatever. And so for me, I find all these sounds and I find all these screens and stuff like that to be highly distracting. I actually have to ignore them and just not look, not hear, so that I could drive normal.
Do you have a heads-up display, Michael?
It's a partial one in my vehicle. The only thing that the heads-up display does, and the first time it did it scared the poop out of me, is it's part of the forward collision system.
Oh, okay.
So as an example, I'll drive and I see an opening and I want to go into the other lane. There's a car in front of me, but I'm going to accelerate a little bit and then go over. Well, as soon as I start accelerating, there's these red bars that flash across the screen, and there's this little beep beep thing that goes off. And the first time it happened to me, I'm halfway through a lane change, and this thing goes off, and I'm like, what the heck is it doing now? And if you go too far, it will actually break the car. Now, I've never got to the point where it starts breaking the vehicle, but yes, it's a partial heads-up display. But I have had a car with heads-up display a long time ago, a '93 Bonneville, and I loved it.
Okay, so to Nick's point, right? When you're driving and you have only the heads-up display, I had a Bonneville too when I was years ago, and you're driving, you've got your heads-up display, and your dash, everything stays the same. There's no Google Maps that's showing you where to turn, and there's no other distraction, just the heads-up display. I find that there's no blind spot monitor, none of that stuff. I find that's easy. But to Nikki's point, if you have the heads-up display, then you've got a screen that's constantly moving and doing things, right? And then you have your blind spot things flashing whenever a car drives by, and then you've got, a vibration because you got too close to the next guy in front of you. Like, man, that is a lot of brain work to, where driving used to be the things that you did, to get away from it all. Right? And then the car becomes a burden. Anyway, just a thought.
That was actually a condition of sale when I bought this vehicle, because when I came back from the test drive, I was backing into the parking spot, and I guess I was getting close to near where the end of the slot. And all of a sudden, the seat started vibrating and stuff. And I was like, what did I just do? And the sales lady, she says, oh, you can turn that off. I says, okay, when I put this in park, because I'm buying this, turn that thing off, please, because I do not want this going off. She goes, oh, it'll do the same thing if you're tailgating a car or if you're drifting your lanes. And I'm like, the worst thing is my seat starts vibrating at 120. I'm probably going to crash this thing up.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Sorry, just I wonder if, since the smart cars, if there has been an increase in car accidents.
Yeah. To answer that, we actually did a presentation on that, on the distractions in the car and the increase in it. It's actually been documented. But what are they going to do about it? I think this phase is going to come, and then later on, it's going to hit a certain point, and they're going to say, you know what, for the basic things like, like turning your radio up and down or rolling your windows up and down or whatever it is, you need to have buttons. Like, stop it. Like, give people buttons that they can count on and cut the distractions, because Michael's right. You're doing like, for me, Michael, I see that scene that you're talking about where there's a car in front of you, you want to pass the guy beside you. So you accelerate and you're going to get close to the guy in front of you. But you know what? We assume that everything is going to continue on as it's going, right? You're not expecting the guy next to you to accelerate to block you. You're not expecting the guy in front of you to stop. So and then while you're doing this precision move, and all of a sudden this, lights start going crazy, your seats, like your car starts braking. Yeah, you might have an accident for sure, for sure. All right, here's the Xiaomi. I don't know how you pronounce that. He's going to pronounce it, and you'll get an idea of what's going on.
All right, real talk. The thesis to this review is if I took the badge off of this car and just put it in front of you, and you think you know a lot about cars, and I said, how much do you think this car costs? There is no way you would get it right. In fact, I think the more you know about cars, the less likely you would be to get it right. Because this car behind me right here, this is the Xiaomi SU7. I've been living with it for a few weeks now and really getting to know it. It is a Chinese EV, and it retails in China for the equivalent of roughly 40 to 45,000 US dollars. But it feels a lot more like $70 to $75,000. And so it has been really interesting trying to think of an angle of how to talk about this car, because I feel like I have two really big theories with it, two really big angles. The first one is that this is confirmation of the theory that if these Chinese EVs came to the US, that we'd be cooked. Like these things would take over, they'd be extremely competitive. They're not available here yet, but they're gonna be available in Europe soon, and they're already doing super well in China. That's like one of the main theories. The other one is that, well, it's made by Xiaomi. This feels like the closest thing to an Apple car that I've been able to review so far. I had a similar theory about a different car, but it's like, this is made by a company that makes smartphones and all kinds of other appliances. I'm shooting this video right now on a Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. The way that this phone integrates into this car and the software is crazy. So I have all these thoughts running through my head. I have a lot of things to talk about with this car, but in general, if you haven't already seen the main channel video on it, go watch that.
Okay, so you know that Huawei is a phone company as well, and they also are putting out vehicles. Like, it's amazing how technology companies are out there doing stuff. Jeremy, have you heard or have you ever tried driving in an electric vehicle? I don't know if you're there.
I haven't, and I would love to, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
I've been in a Tesla, but other than a Tesla, and I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years ago.
And but you're not driven.
I'm not driven it. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, Jeremy.
I've driven a few EVs when I worked at a car dealership about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but they weren't as high tech as today.
Okay. So, sorry, 5 years ago when you drove those EVs, were any of them compelling to you?
Other than the Tesla, no.
Other than the Tesla, yeah. The Tesla is definitely, as you guys know, my brother has a Tesla, and I remember the first time when he drove it. It was myself, Teresa, my mom in the car, and we're just on a regular street, and he decides to just floor that thing. I have never felt acceleration like that before. To the point where my first reaction was panic, Michael. The first reaction was panic. And then you kind of get used to it. And then the first time I drove it was the first time I realized how beautiful technology is. So Teslas are insane, but the competition coming in from China is overwhelming. And I think that if we were to allow all Chinese EVs into Canada, I think it would be devastating for the North American auto industry, because we're just not going to be able to compete. So I'm hoping that they allow them into Canada. They share their technology with us, and that we're able to then start, adjusting how we build things so that we can compete on price with them. Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Any last comments on that? How many people feel right now that you would definitely, on your next vehicle, Michael, you will get an electric car?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. And I was only in a Tesla once. And my daughter, we were out in Toronto. My daughter had ordered this Uber ride, and she specified when she put her thing in, I want an SUV, because there was 4 adults.
Right.
And this little Tesla pulls up, and 3 of us had to get in the back seat. We only had to go about 5K, but by the time I was done that 5K, my back was just about thrown out, because you cannot put 3 people in the back of one of those vehicles. They call it an SUV, by the way. And like my daughter's reaction when this thing pulled up, she goes, "That's not a bleep bleep SUV." And it was the worst vehicle I have ever sat in. I have never almost thrown out my back from
How do you really
discomfort
feel, Michael? Why don't you share with us how
in
you exactly
5
feel?
kilometers. But
Yeah,
I'll give
nail
you
the
one.
emotion.
I'll give you one as we're leaving. And the buttons, Mimi, the buttons are coming back, and this is how it's going to happen. You know how you had to pay extra to get all these electronics, right? Because cars went up because you can have all these electronics. The marketing people are working on this right now, and the big car makers, they are going to bring out for a premium price the retro vehicle. And it's going to have all buttons and analog gauges, and you're going to pay
Wow.
extra for it because it's going to be the retro edition.
All right, Nick, have you been in would you get an electric vehicle, Nick?
No.
No. Nick.
I just think I think it's much easier to just have something normal. I think it's easier to pump gas, right? I think that regardless of whatever, when I see like cars being what do you call it? Charged from within the home, that big long hose looking thing and whatever. I'm just thinking, well, how much energy is that using?
No,
And
nothing.
oh,
No,
okay. Well
yeah,
then
it's very low. But yeah,
if it's
yeah,
very lit,
very
oh,
low.
that's because it's not running.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, would you?
To answer your question,
Yes.
I will be getting, Gary and I decided we're getting electric vehicles next. However, I will not be looking at vehicles where I have to pay a ton in subscription fees every
I agree.
month.
100%.
And I will definitely, if it's available, be getting the retro version, even if I have to pay a little bit more. And part of the reason for all this is because it's nicer to the planet.
It is. That's right. And it's nicer to the wallet. Nicer to
Yes.
the wallet.
Yeah. 100%.
For sure. Sarah, how about you?
I would get one, but not right now. I test drove the Mach-E, and that thing is fast.
Yes.
The Mustang Mach-E, because
Yeah.
I had the Mustang before, so my husband works for Ford. So he goes, "You want to look at the Mach-E?" So he brought it home and I drove it. It is fast. But you're right, it scared the poop out of me when I drove it because it's so quiet.
Yeah, for sure. And, and Sarah, when I'm passing somebody on the highway, I mean, my car has some power. So I just put the pedal to the floor and it'll pass, right? But I'm afraid to put the pedal to the floor in an electric car because I just don't know if there's any dirt on the road, if any oil. I just don't want to spin out. Like it pretty
scared
insane.
me when I drove it. I'm not gonna lie, it scared me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Jeremy, how about you?
I would definitely be getting one. I don't need one now because I don't really go anywhere. I'm a homebody, and if I leave the country. But 100,000 billion% will be getting an EV. It's just like air. You need it.
Jeremy, listen, if you get it, and we're still in contact, please let me know so that we could do a walkthrough. That would be amazing.
I don't know if I'm gonna get the Chinese one though. I gotta do my research on the pros and cons.
Yeah,
But
you know what? If I was
definitely
gonna get one, it would probably I'd bite the bullet and I'd probably get a Tesla for sure.
Yeah, same. That's where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, it's the most reliable right now, I think. Anyway, all right, listen, thank you everybody. Thank you for jumping on today. That was a lot of fun, huh? Right, Michael? Was that fun?
I had an okay time. And I'm just, Mimi's all pumped about now paying extra for the retro edition of her next vehicle.
That was so funny.
Yeah, that's right.
Did she actually believe you, Michael, that they have that?
Well, no, I just kind of made that up, but this is
I know
how
you did. That's what's so
this
funny.
is
I
how
thought you believed you.
automakers and marketers think, right? They're like, well, if we're going to go back to something that's simpler and cheaper,
Right.
what we got to do is make people think they're getting something extra.
Yeah.
And those buttons are extras. So we're going to charge, even though we already upcharged you to make it computerized with screens, now we're going to charge you another upcharge to make it back to analog, right? And it's
Yeah, I'm
it's how
dying.
they
I'm
work.
like,
But think about this. I just want you to think about one thing, right? So because it's all computerized and everything else, and it's on the screen, they can give over the air updates and they can fix certain things over the air, right? Whereas if it's hardwired, it might limit what they're able to do over the air.
Actually, no. Depending on the brand, because even though there's like my last truck was mostly analog, it did have OnStar on it.
Oh,
And if it's got an OnStar, then it's connected to a network. And I guess technically they could direct a update even with an analog gauge. You just need the network interface.
okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's just some parts of the car they won't be able to update. But I mean, but who knows? I mean, we'll have to see. So, but Michael,
But that
I'm with
also
Jeremy.
means
I'm
that
with
also
Jeremy
means
100 billion%.
you're
I
gonna buy
think
it
that
anyway.
my next car, when I replace the Volvo, I think my next car will definitely be electric. I actually think that we're at that point.